Hello everyone, my name is Wardog and welcome back to another episode of Sound Sidetrack. In today's episode, we'll be taking a look at a song named Easier Than Love by Switchfoot. So without further ado, let's get into it. Quick side note, I've been trying to upload a reaction video about a pro-life advocate debating pro-choice students. It was visceral and quite hilarious, but for some reason it won't render, so while I figure that out, this song is roughly in the same vein. I think it fits. Now, onto the video. Easier Than Love appears as the fifth track on the album Nothing Is Sound. This song was written and composed by Switchfoot, an American Christian band specializing in contemporary rock. The members of the band have described themselves as Christian by faith, not by genre, because some of their music can be interpreted as secular, which is what I think is phenomenal about this band. You don't have to be Christian to get something from their music. At one point, John Foreman, the lead singer, said the name Switchfoot comes from a surfing term. Quote, "We all love to surf and have been surfing all our lives, so to us, the name made sense. To switch your feet means to take a new stance facing the opposite direction. It's about change and movement. It's a different way of approaching life and music." End quote. Nothing Is Sound was released on September 13th, 2005 and was a huge success, reaching number 3 on Billboard 200 charts. This album can be seen as one of their more edgier albums, seeing that they cover topics like suicide and sex. Easier Than Love is about the worst thing to ever happen to humanity. You guessed it, the sexual revolution. I say that because of the record numbers of loneliness and dissatisfaction that has come from it. Men don't understand women, and women don't understand men. Sex is the goal of love and not the product of it, and that's exactly what this song is about. The rise of hookup culture and one-night stands are obliterating the relationships between men and women, and this song expertly captures that. The first verse states as follows. "Sex is currency, she sells cars, and she sells magazines. Addictive, bittersweet, clap your hands with the hopeless nicotines. Everyone's a lost romantic since our love became a kissing show. Everyone's a Casanova, come and pass me the mistletoe. Everyone's been scared to death of dying here alone." This song starts with the timeless statement, "Sex sells," and it truly does. Putting an attractive model in advertisement really draws attention. One of the most notorious brands to do this is Hardee's. These advertisements are indicative of corporations using sex to sell products. Just take a look at this.
Stands on golden sands and watches the ships that go sail.
And this is just for food. Plenty of other brands have done things like this, either explicitly or subtly, and these ads will be remembered for one reason or another. Many things are addictive, including sex and sexual activities, and once that drive is awakened, it's nearly impossible to cease. Due to the glamorization of love and romance novels and films, the physical part of love is the only thing depicted on screen and not the difficult parts such as compromising and sacrificing for one spouse. A Casanova, in its literal sense, means a man with many lovers, and that seems to be true in this age. Many people have or have had multiple sexual relationships that are nothing more than that, sex for the night. Take that as you may, but to suggest this does nothing to one's perception of sex is false. At first glance, the last line of this verse is true. Everyone is afraid to die alone, but perhaps it's far more rhetorical. Perhaps John is hinting at the number of suicides from loneliness. That line has a darker undertone for me now. The chorus proceeds as follows. She, it's easier than love, it's easier than life, it's easier to fake and smile and brag. It's easier to leave, it's easier to lie, it's harder to face ourselves at night. Feeling alone, what have we done? What is the monster we've become? Where is my soul? The chorus is amazing. She refers to sex and how prevalent it is in our culture. The chorus lists many things that are easier than love, such as faking a personality and a smile to get what you want from others and bragging about it later. This is something I've seen many times in male conversations. It's much easier to leave during a difficult time in a relationship or marriage instead of finding the cause of those issues, with exceptions to abuse, of course. It's much easier to lie and get someone inebriated to get them in bed for the night, which is quite criminal in my opinion, but happens all the time, or lie to one spouse about an affair that will inevitably shatter trust between the two of them. After all of that, we have to face ourselves and our actions at one point or another and try to justify them to make ourselves feel better. I feel most people engage in a hookup just so they don't have to be alone with their thoughts, and that's a terrible realization. This doesn't just apply to sex, but to pornography as well. With the deed done and reality setting in, the thoughts of what you've done and what you've become really drives the shame deeper. Our souls can be lost in this rampant behavior, and the desensitization to such an intimate and bonding experience only makes loving someone progressively more difficult. The second verse states as follows: sex is industry, the CEO of corporate policy. Skin deep ministry, suburban youth, hail your so-called liberty. Every advertising antic, our banner waves with a neon glow. War and love become pandemic, we wage love with the mistletoe. Everyone's been scared to death of dying here alone. Switchfoot's lyrics are quite cryptic, and that's what I like about their music. Each song means something different to everyone. I think the second verse hints again at the use of sexuality to push products on consumers and how successful it can be. It also talks about how children and young adults are exposed to sexual content and how some people hold their body counts as sexual liberty. The neon signs of clubs and bars signal hookup culture. There's nothing wrong with going out and having a good time, but some people are looking for someone to take home for the night. It is said that all is fair in love and war, but love and sex have become a token, something to gloat about. Making out is seen as the icon of love and not the product of it, as stated earlier. The chorus and bridge repeat, and that solidifies the point that most products of love are easier than love itself. In conclusion, I truly think sex can corrupt if left to its own devices. Women and children are sold for money and food in other countries around the world. I saw a documentary about little girls being force-fed to appear older and larger, only to be sold for money. Food is hard to come by for these people, but having money to sustain the village is far more important than the safety of these little girls. It's gross and disgusting, but this stuff happens every day. Not only in countries with less robust laws and judicial infrastructure, but also in Western countries, right in our own backyards. There are many sting operations taking down, we'll say, fans of the playground, read between the lines, daily, and there is no lack of perpetrators. I honestly feel like the uncontrolled sexual degeneracy leads to the need for more intense actions, which can lead one to some really deplorable behavior. And that's a topic for a future video. I suppose to conclude, not all sexual acts are equivalent. Some are just deplorable and unforgivable. And unhinged promiscuity is far easier than love. I'd like to thank you for watching and leave a like if you've enjoyed. And until next time, farewell.